So for Monday and Tuesday, we will be doing Module 5, Lesson 4. Our objective today is, today you will subtract multiples of 100 and some tens within 1,000. You can solve using the arrow way or mental math. And the word multiples means groups of, so we're going to be adding by adding groups of 10 and some groups of 10 as well. And within 1,000 means that the answer will be less than 1,000. You can use two strategies today to solve your math. One way is arrow way and the other way is mental math. I am going to show you a different way to do arrow way than we did last week. This time we're going to group all the hundreds into one arrow and all the tens into one arrow, and I'll show you what I mean in 1 second. So here at the top you see an example of subtracting using the arrow way, and there are three examples: 570 minus 300, 570 minus 370, and 570 minus 390. You will see very similar examples in your textbook today. So one way to do it is the way we did it last time, that we drew an arrow for each of the hundreds. So we broke this 300 into 3 arrows of 100, because 100 plus 100 plus 100 makes 300. But another faster way to do it is to just put all of the hundreds in one arrow, which is what example number 1 shows. It shows 570 minus 300, so the children can say 500 minus 300 is 200, and 70 minus 0 is 70, and that's how we come up with 270. And for the bottom two examples, you see that they have tens. So what we did is, for the first one, we drew one arrow for the hundreds place, which is a 300, and one arrow for the tens place, which is a 7, which means 70. And so we took all the hundreds all at once and all the tens all at once. This can be tricky for kids. If they do not know how to count by tens, my suggestion would be to draw what I drew last time, the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 in a row like that, so that when they count backwards, they can actually count back looking at that skip counting. The same with the hundreds. It's just easier for them to do it, and if you make that benchmark list, it can stay with them for the whole week, and it could be a tool that they can use. So you're going to make one of the benchmark of 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then one of the benchmark of 100, so 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And that way they can use that tool as they're mentally subtracting without making mistakes, because it's important in math to be accurate, and accurate means getting the answer correctly. So on the bottom you see it done in a different way, and I'll show you what they did. So they did 570. They took away the 300, which is in the hundreds place, and then they took away the 70 first to turn it into a even 100. And then they took away the other 20, because 70 plus 20 equals 90. It is a much faster way to get to it. Another way to do it is just to draw one arrow and put 90. But if your child is missing some of that number sense and they're not able to do it in their mind, this is another way to break it, always breaking it down to the next 100 and then taking away from that 100. You'll see my example in one of the ones that I did for addition that was trickier. So here's how you would do it in addition. It would be the same exact way. So I would take all of the hundreds all at once, and I would add it. And then for 370, I would take away all of the hundreds, and then I would take away all of the 70, which is in the tens place. And then this 90 could have been very tricky. So there would be two ways that I could do this. I could say 570 plus 300 equals 870 plus 90 equals 960. Or I could have done 370 plus 300 equals 870. And I know that I need 30 more here to take me to the next 100. So I could put plus 30 and that would be 900. And then I could add the 60 that's remaining, and then that would bring me to 960. If your child needs that extra step, please take the extra step because it is important to be accurate. So I don't mind how many arrows they have to do. If they want to draw all the tens and all the hundreds, they can. This is just another strategy, another way to solve it, which I am perfectly okay with if your child knows their benchmark numbers and can do it mentally. What I tell them about doing it mentally and just putting the answer, what worries me about that is that in 3rd grade, they take this test called RICAS. And if they get used to just doing the math in their head and not showing it, they're going to have a difficult time in RICAS because during that test, they ask them to show the work. And if they have not been practicing how to show the work, they're not going to do it during the test. And those test questions sometimes are worth 4 points, and they could easily lose 4 points just because they didn't show the work. Even if the answer is right, they will not get any points. So it is important that even if your child can do it in their mind, that they show the work because they have to get used to that important habit. All right, I hope this helps. And I'm also attaching the Eureka Math Duane video just because it's another way to hear the explanation from a different person. And sometimes it helps to hear it from a second person.